Cactus emojis took over Twitter again this weekend as Texas Tech finally took on TCU in one of the most anticipated matchups of the season. But could the Red Raiders stick it to the Horned Frogs and bring home the Saddle Trophy? MCTV's Joshua Ermis has the score and highlights from Saturday's showdown in sports.
The Halloween season may be over, but not before the Hub City celebrated in spooky style. MCTV's Sally McWilliams has the details on an annual tradition where some of the best jack-o'-lanterns in the city were on full display just in time for the haunted holiday.
And many new students here on campus may still be looking for ways to get involved and meet some like-minded Red Raiders. If you're still looking for a place to fit in, MCTV's Harper Cummings has the details on one group that may just meet your mechanical mindset.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Kiley Phillips.
And I'm Rhode Duenas. Over the summer, Texas Tech and TCU engaged in a war of words after a member of the Horned Frogs athletic staff used a cactus emoji as an insult towards the university in Lubbock.
Ever since then, fans have been using the image of a cacti as a rally cry leading up to this past weekend's showdown in Fort Worth. But could the Red Raiders use that energy to end the rivalry with a victory?
MCTV's Joshua Ermis joins us in his studio with the details on the showdown in the Metroplex and who got the last laugh this weekend. Joshua?
Thanks, Kiley and Rhody. The day many Texas Tech fans look forward to this season came and went on Saturday. And even though the Twitter war would have ended best for the Red Raiders in a win, TCU finished out on top 34-24. The biggest story of Saturday's game was yet another quarterback injury for Texas Tech, this time involving redshirt freshman Baron Morton. Morton completed 7 of 10 attempts, passing for 79 yards and a touchdown before he left the game in the second quarter. Senior Tyler Shugg took his place, but his lack of playing time became obvious as he completed just 9 of his 22 passing attempts, racking up 84 yards. Shugg did throw for 1 touchdown, but he had an interception as well. On the other side of the ball, the Tech defense had a great 3 quarters of play, limiting TCU quarterback Max Duggan to less than 200 yards in the air. But Duggan made up for his lack of yardage with 2 consecutive touchdown passes in the fourth quarter, guaranteeing the Horned Frogs the win. Following Saturday's game, TCU brought an end to the Twitter war for now with a tweet stating, "Turns out Lubbock is a dead end." The post included a picture of a cactus with a one-way bus ticket to Lubbock stuck on the spines. Coming up later in sports, I'll have another look at Tech versus TCU, along with details on a different Red Raider team who took on the Horned Frogs this weekend. Back to you, Rhody.
Thanks, Joshua. Last week, the Lubbock community celebrated Halloween with a night of trick-or-treating and some last-minute activities. But before the haunted holiday officially began, several local events got residents into the spooky spirit. MCTV's Sally McWilliams stopped by one Hub City tradition that has been entertaining guests with some creepy creations for more than a decade.
It's starting to feel like fall here in Lubbock. Tonight we are at the 14th Annual Lubbock Memorial Arboretum Pumpkin Trail, an event hosted every year for 14 years now, hosting for families of all ages. This is a pumpkin trail where families can walk and experience carved pumpkins and spooky decorations, as well as a scavenger hunt where you win candy and prizes. Anai Delgado, Public Relations Specialist at Lubbock Parks and Recreation, helped out with last week's event and was looking forward to the experience.
So this is my first pumpkin trail. I just started with the department not too long ago, but this year is our 14th annual pumpkin trail, and I hear it's a lot of fun.
The annual pumpkin trail features over 1,500 carved and decorated pumpkins donated by the local community. Delgado says she was impressed to see the amount of companies and organizations who participated in this trail.
So far, my favorite thing is seeing how creative our sponsors and local organizations have gotten with their displays. They're able to incorporate their pumpkin carving designs with what they do and what they stand for, and it's really cool to see how creative they get.
The pumpkin trail brings out visitors of all ages to enjoy a night of fun. Along with the pumpkins, the trail features games and activities for kids.
My favorite part is the scavenger hunt.
There's a scavenger hunt? Tell me a little bit about that. What happens in the scavenger hunt?
You have to find objects, and I already found the barrel over there.
Some Texas Tech departments and student organizations also took part in the event, providing a unique opportunity to showcase their skills.
Me and my friends, we just wanted to see the pumpkins, and because I have friends who actually have a project here, and yeah.
The pumpkin trail ended Sunday but will return next Halloween season. For MCTV, I'm Sally McWilliams.
With Halloween finished for another year, the holiday season has officially begun. The next big day on the calendar is Thanksgiving, and with less than 3 weeks to go, some Red Raiders may be looking for options to head home for the holiday. Luckily, one university group is continuing to offer an option for those still looking for transportation. Tickets still remain to several destinations for this year's Thanksgiving break shuttle. The annual trips are offered through a partnership between Tech's Parent and Family Relations and BreakShuttle.com. Right now, students can still buy one-way passes to and from Austin, El Paso, Houston, and San Antonio. The current prices for each trip are $130 for El Paso, $144 for Austin or San Antonio, and $155 for Houston. All of the bus trips leave from the R11 parking lot behind the sub on Wednesday, November 23rd, and each return trip will leave on Sunday, November 27th. Tickets will remain available until they are sold out, but the quantities are limited. If you are interested in buying tickets, visit BreakShuttle.com for more info.
Speaking of the holiday, Christmas is also just around the corner. Even though you may not have finalized your gift list, some local families are already looking for options to make sure their children have the happiest holiday. With that in mind, some Red Raiders are currently offering an opportunity to help bring Christmas morning smiles to those in need. The Human Development and Family Studies Graduate Student Association's annual toy drive is currently underway. The drive started last week and runs through the month of November. From now through Thursday, members of the GSA will be tabling in the Human Sciences Building breezeway, offering members of the tech community a chance to sponsor a family in need. Students, faculty, and staff can stop by between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. and pick up a wish list from a child in TTU's Early Head Start program. Participants then have between now and December 1st to buy the items on the list and drop them off in room 302 in the Human Sciences Building. Even if you can't make it by this week's tabling, the GSA will also be taking donations through a website from now until the end of November. For more information on how to sponsor a child or make a donation, visit the website listed on your screen. It felt a lot like fall over the weekend here on the South Plains, with cooler temperatures, cloudy skies, and breezy winds.
That's true, Rhody. Temperatures even dropped off into the upper 30s overnight on Friday, but we still haven't experienced the first freeze of the season here in Lubbock. But could that change as we head into the first full week of November? Let's take a look at the MCTV forecast. There's quite a few clouds visible on the MCTV tower cam this afternoon. The cloudy conditions have been in the area all morning, and even more will be on the way as we get closer to sunset. Today's highs aren't expected to make it into the 70s this afternoon, but we should stay in the 60s through the evening. Later tonight, the clouds will continue to gather, and that could lead to some thunderstorms early tomorrow morning. In the meantime, temperatures will only drop into the upper 50s, making for a mild night. Tomorrow, the chance for storms is not in the forecast, but the clouds will continue to be a factor. Overcast skies are expected until late Tuesday afternoon, but we should see an increase in temperatures. Highs are expected to reach the mid-70s tomorrow, with breezy winds increasing throughout the day. The cloudy conditions will continue into Wednesday, and so will the wind. Wind speeds are expected to reach as high as 20 to 30 miles per hour in the afternoon, and gusts could be even higher. But Thursday morning, the clouds should clear out and winds will decrease. Thursday's temperatures will also be cooler, with highs back in the 60s most of the day. Overnight on Thursday, a cold front will drop temperatures even more, with lows falling into the 30s. Looking ahead, the end of the week cold front could finally bring fall conditions into the forecast, including the chance for a first freeze here in Lubbock before the weekend.
The Texas Tech community celebrated Pride Week during the last week of October. Even though the week-long celebration is over, you still have a chance to learn about Tech's LGBTQ+ community through a special continuing exhibit. Through the years, Pride at Texas Tech University is currently on display in the Crosland Room in the TTU Library. The exhibit features documents, pictures, and other items that chronicle the history, culture, and personal stories of Tech's LGBTQ+ community. The display was made possible through a partnership with the Office of LGBTQIA Education and Engagement and the Texas Tech University Archives. A large portion of the exhibit is made up of newspaper articles from the student newspaper and an underground publication called The Catalyst. The articles help build a timeline that tells the story of how the Tech campus went from rejection to acceptance of the LGBT community. Through the efforts of students, faculty, and staff, the exhibit will remain on display through November 29th, and it can be viewed anytime the library is open.
As we mentioned earlier, the Red Raider football team headed to North Texas over the weekend to continue their Big 12 schedule, but they weren't the only team facing competition dressed in purple and white.
MCTV's Joshua Ermis joins us again with details on more Red Raider action taking place over the weekend in sports. Joshua?
Thanks, Rhody and Kiley. Texas Tech athletics engaged in a war on two fronts with the TCU Horned Frogs on Saturday, both in volleyball and football. We are going to start with volleyball as the Red Raiders looked to break their 5-match losing streak as they hosted TCU on Saturday. Tech didn't get off to a hot start as they lost their first set 25-15. They were able to battle back and win a grueling second set with a score of 31-29. Unfortunately, that would be the extent of the Red Raiders' success as they would drop the next two consecutive sets with scores of 25-16 and 27-25 to lose their sixth straight match 3-1. Setter Reese Rhodes put up her 9th double-double of the season with 37 assists and 10 digs in the loss. The Red Raiders now hold an overall record of 14-10 and a conference record of 3-8. They will head to Norman as they take on the Oklahoma Sooners on Wednesday with another chance to break their current 6-match losing streak. Texas Tech football also faced off against the 7th-ranked undefeated Horned Frogs, this game taking place on the road in Fort Worth. The story of the game for the Red Raiders was the unfortunate leg injury quarterback Baron Morton suffered in the first half. Texas Tech has had a number of injury issues at the quarterback position this season. Tyler Shugg came in to replace Morton and led the Raiders to a 17-13 lead heading into the fourth quarter. But that's when TCU would turn on the gas and score 21 fourth-quarter points to Tech's 7, winning the game with a final score of 34-24, advancing to a now 9-0 record on the season. Texas Tech stands at 4-5 overall and 2-4 in Big 12 play. They'll be back in Lubbock this Saturday as they host the Kansas Jayhawks. That game will have a 6 p.m. kickoff. Also, Texas Tech men's and women's basketball will kick off their seasons at the United Supermarkets Arena here in Lubbock tonight. The women will start the night with a 5:30 p.m. tip-off against the Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islanders, followed by the 25th-ranked men's team, who will tip off at 8 p.m. against the Northwestern State Demons. That's all I got for sports. Back to you, Rhody and Kiley.
Thanks, Joshua. Student involvement is a huge thing here at Texas Tech. There are literally hundreds of organizations and groups students can choose from during their time at the university.
Many student groups are part of an academic department, but there are also plenty of groups with interests that go beyond the classroom. And as MCTV's Harper Cummings shows us, one of those groups was brought together by their love for a common form of transportation.
Do you have an interest in cars, motorcycles, or just about anything that drives? Well, turns out you're not alone. There are plenty of students across Texas Tech that have interest in vehicles, whether they have 4 wheels, 2 wheels, or less or more, just depending on what it is. If that's the case, then TTU Cars may be just what you're looking for. Connor Lard, a founding member, says he has had a great few years being part of the group.
I've been a part of TTU Cars for 3.5 years, and it's been incredible to watch it grow from just a couple people with cars that happen to meet up every week at a parking garage to something that has now over 250 members that we go and we meet up at different places. We get to go wash our cars together and just talk about cars, work on cars together, and it's been a great 3.5 years.
With a name like TTU Cars, most would assume everyone just looks at cars and just cares about the cars, but no, it seems to be that the community is the larger aspect at play here. With this in mind, I went down to one of the weekly meets to get a glimpse into how a group like this came to be by speaking with one of the founders, David Clements.
It wasn't really more of an idea, it just kind of happened. A group of friends, we had a group chat, decided we wanted to go out and cruise one day. We went out to Ransom Canyons, took a couple pictures, kind of turned into an Instagram page. Cars started growing, made a group meet, and just went from there, and now we have 200 or so members or more.
The growth to 200 plus members today from just a small gathering of friends continues to increase to this day. Sierra Mellis is one of the new members of the group this year.
So my favorite part about the meets is definitely being able to stay and talk to everybody. We'll stay for way longer than we say like the meets actually are, and we'll all just kind of talk in a group at the end, and then we'll all go get dinner afterwards sometimes, and it's always a blast. I always go home and I'm like, wow, such a great day.
So even if you aren't sure if you're into cars or like cars at all, you might just find a community that shares an interest in something you might not know you were interested in. The weekly meets give you something fun to do on a Sunday night and a chance to meet new people. For MCTV, I'm Harper Cummings.
So, Kylie, have you had a chance to check out any student organizations here on campus?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty heavily involved in student government. What about you?
I'm part of HSS right now, hoping to expand.
Awesome.
That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.